Hey there, welcome back. So in the previous couple of tutorials, I have been showing you how to, declare the different JavaScript objects, how to access the properties of those objects. And in the previous tutorial, we have even drawn an object, right? So we had this square and we have accessed the properties of the square, and using that we have drawn the square. So now the next thing we are going to look at is JavaScript functions, because functions are very important, and we are going to kind of divide our whole game into different functions, so you need to know about them. So let's just create another file and get started with functions. So I'll just create a simple page here. Now again, when we are dealing with functions, we really don't need any canvas, right? So we can just directly define the script. Okay, so what is a function? So say, in your script, you have these two lines. So you have, say, these 6 lines in your script, and you don't just have them once. Say you have a script of around 300 lines of code, and within that 300 lines of code, in different places, say around 10 places, you have these 6 lines, right? So in 10 places, these 6 lines occur together, right? So they just simply just write something to the console, right? So what a function means is that a function is nothing but a block of code, right? So this is a block of code, right? This is a block of length 6. So a function is nothing but a block of code, and we can use a function to combine all of these lines of code, and whenever in whatever part of the script we'll be needing to print some these things in the console, then we don't need to write all these 6 lines. We can just simply call the function, and as soon as we do that, then all these 6 lines will get executed and we'll just be getting the same output. So that's one utility that functions provide, and let me just show you that how all of that works out. So I can just define a function like this. So I'll enclose all of these 6 sentences, or this complete block, into this function. Let me take care of the indentation, and that's it. So now this myFun is a function, and this is how we define it. This is the name of the function, equals a function, because what is myFun? myFun is a function. So here we have the function. These open and close braces are used to declare a function, and also within this you can have different arguments that we are going to talk about very soon. So within that function we have these 6 lines of code. Now say we want to just execute whatever is there inside the function, right? So we want to execute these 6 lines of code, so we don't need to write those 6 lines again. We can simply write myFun, and say after some time we again have to execute these 6 lines of code. Then again we can simply just call myFun again, and that's it. So you get the utility, right? So if you have a function, then you don't need to write the same code back to back several number of times and all that. So let me just run this and see whether it works. I'll have to open the console, Control-Shift-I. So there's 12 times these are printed, so it is working. Now that's about functions, but again there is one more utility to a function. A function is not only about creating a block of code and so on. So this is one application of the function, but again you can use a function to do a specific job, like here I'm doing. So here I'm declaring area as a function. So I was talking about the parameters, right? So here I can write here something like length and say breadth. So this is area is a function that accepts a length and a breadth, and it will calculate the total area, right? So how do we calculate the area? We just simply, do something like this. So this a now contains the length into breadth, which is simply the area, and then we return the a. So this function accepts a length and a breadth, and it returns the area. So if I call this function, and let me just put this in a console.log, so we would be able to see the output. And first let's see the output and then see what happens. So the output is 200, right? Because 20 into 10 is 200. So what is going on here? So at this line, when we are passing 10 and 20, then length is getting assigned to, let me just put it to comment, and length is getting assigned to 10 and breadth is getting assigned to 20, right? In the next line, we have writing that a is equal to length into breadth, which is 10 into 20, which is 200. And finally in the last line we are returning a, so we are just returning 200, right? So we gave 10 and 20, we have returned 200. So this whole place, so this console.log, and inside of this is the area 10 and 20 would be replaced by 200, and that's why we will display 200, right? So that's pretty much about the function. So it's a block of code. So you use a function when you have the similar type of code, and you have to write those same code in several number of times in a script. And you also use this function as a utility when you need to compute some specific things. Then you use a function, you pass the parameters to the function and you get the result as an output. So that's about the function, and that's it for this video. And in the next video we'll be talking about a really important function in JavaScript that we will need a lot, which is called the set interval function. So that's it, and I'll see you in the next one.